Once upon a time, in the Zarafa kingdom, there was a big palace with golden doors and long shiny halls, where lived a girl who never belonged there. Her name was Lola, but no one called her that. They called her Maid, servant, or "Hey you." She was only 20 years old, but her face, it was so beautiful. People forgot how to speak when they saw her. Big eyes, smooth skin, pink lips, hair like black silk. Even the queen once said, "This girl looks too perfect to be a maid." But she was one. Her parents died in a fire when she was just 5. The palace took her in. Not out of love, but to make her work. She grew up scrubbing floors, carrying water, folding clothes, and cooking for people who never said thank you. Still, she never complained. She always whispered, "God is watching. He knows my name." The queen ruled the palace like a lioness. She was rich, proud, cold. She wore diamonds like they were buttons. Her voice was always sharp. Her eyes never smiled. Even her son, the young prince, was scared of her. His name was Prince Ugo Dottal. Smart, handsome, but sad. He had no friends. His father, the king, had died. His mother controlled his every move, and one day, she called him. "Your wedding is in 2 months," the queen said without asking. Prince Ugo blinked. "Wedding?" "Yes," she snapped. "You'll marry Princess Nenna of the East Kingdom. Her father is powerful. This will help our land." "But I don't love her," he said softly. "Love is not important," the queen said. "Power is." Ugo didn't speak. He just nodded and walked away with a heavy heart. That same evening, he saw something that made his heart skip. A girl, standing by the garden feeding birds. Her face looked like the moon. Her hands were gentle. Her smile made the air softer. It was Lola. He watched from far. She didn't know he was looking. The next day, he saw her again. This time, she was sweeping the stairs. The wind blew her scarf off. Her long hair fell over her shoulders like waves. She grabbed it quickly, looking around nervously. He wanted to say something, but he didn't. He just watched, day after day. He kept seeing her. He started walking through the servant halls on purpose, sitting in the kitchen sometimes, pretending he was just passing by. His eyes always searched for her. His heart beat faster when he heard her laugh. And one day, he spoke. "You have the kindest eyes I've ever seen," he said, standing behind her near the garden. She jumped in shock. "Your Highness!" "Don't be scared," he said softly. "I just wanted to talk." Lola looked down. "I'm just a maid. We're not allowed to talk to royals." "You're not just anything," he replied, but she shook her head. "This cannot happen. Please, don't speak to me again." She ran away, her heart pounding. But that was just the beginning, because love doesn't care about rules. It doesn't care about rank, or rooms, or robes. It only cares about the heart. And Prince Ugo's heart was already hers. After that day in the garden, Lola tried to avoid him. She woke up earlier, worked faster, ate alone, hid in corners. But Prince Ugo still found her, even if it was just a glimpse, even if it was just one smile from far away. He wasn't like other royals. He never gave her orders. He never looked at her body. He just looked at her like she mattered. And slowly Lola's heart stopped saying no. They started talking at night, near the kitchen where no one passed. He told her about his childhood, how lonely he felt, how he missed his father, how he hated being called "Your Highness" by everyone. She told him about her dreams, How she wanted to open a school for girls like her. How she missed her mother's singing. One night, he held her hand. "I don't want to marry Princess Nena," he said. "I want to be with you." Lola shook her head. "We can't. It's wrong." "No," he whispered. "What they're doing to me is wrong." But what they didn't know was that someone was listening. The head maid. She had always hated Lola, jealous of her beauty, angry that the prince noticed her. She didn't waste time. By morning, the whole palace was buzzing. "Have you heard? The maid is sleeping with the prince. She bewitched him. I heard he kisses her behind the garden wall." Everywhere Lola walked, people stared, whispered, laughed. She wanted to hide. She wanted to scream. But the worst came later that afternoon. The queen called her to the throne hall. When Lola stepped inside, guards were already waiting. The queen's face was full. "A fire, you dirty little snake," she said coldly. "You think you're clever?" Lola fell to her knees. "I didn't do anything, Your Majesty." "You seduced my son," she shouted. "You shamed this palace." "No, I swear. Lies," the queen screamed. Then she turned to the guards. "Teach her a lesson." Before Lola could understand, one guard grabbed her arms. Another pulled her dress down from the back. The whip cracked. Once, twice, 3 times. She screamed, begging, crying. The queen watched without blinking. Then her voice came again. "Now, let her feel what it means to steal from a queen." She turned to the guards again. "Take her, one by one. Break her pride." Lola screamed louder, trying to crawl away. But they dragged her out. Her cries echoed through the walls. But Prince Ugo never heard. He was away, fighting in a small border war ordered by the queen herself. A war that didn't need to happen. But she made it happen anyway. She needed him gone. She needed Lola destroyed. When he came back weeks later, the first thing he did was ask, "Where's Lola?" The queen smiled sweetly. "She stole gold and ran away." He froze. "No, she wouldn't." "She did," the queen said. "She tricked you, son. You were a fool to believe a pretty face." Ugo's heart cracked. He tried asking the guards, the maids, anyone. But the queen had silenced them all. He started to believe the lie. He hated himself, but he also started to hate her. Far away from the palace, deep in a quiet village where the roads were red and the trees whispered secrets, Lola lived, or tried to. She had nothing, no money, no roof, no family. But she had one thing, a baby in her belly. His baby. At night, she cried into her pillow, remembering the pain, the shame, the betrayal, the guards, the queen's voice, the way no one helped her. But when she touched her stomach, she whispered, "You are my reason now. You are my strength." Months passed. She stayed with an old woman in the village who gave her a small hut and food once in a while. And then one rainy night, after hours of pain and screaming, a baby boy was born. His eyes were sharp, his lips full, his skin rich like honey. He looked just like Prince Ugo. Lola held him close, her tears soaking the blanket. "You are not a mistake," she whispered. "You are my miracle." She named him Obi, which meant heart. Years passed. Obi grew fast, smart, strong, kind. He loved helping the old woman sweep the hut. He chased butterflies. He laughed loudly, but he always asked, "Mama, where's my papa?" Lola would smile sadly and say, "He's in the sky." One afternoon, When Obi was 5, Lola sent him to the market with a neighbor. He was buying onions. That's when it happened. Prince Ugo had come to that same village, visiting as part of a royal project. He didn't want to go. His heart was still cold, still unsure. But the queen had pushed him. And as he walked through the market, something pulled him. A small boy ran past him, laughing. Ugo turned. His eyes widened. The boy had his eyes, his lips, even the way he smiled. It felt like looking in a mirror. He followed the boy. "Hey," Ugo said gently. "What's your name?" "Obi," the boy replied shyly. "Where's your mother?" Obi blinked and pointed behind him. But then he got scared and ran back toward a woman selling tomatoes. He hid behind her. It was Lola. She had covered her face with a scarf, but Ugo saw her eyes. He froze. His heart stopped. It was her. Lola saw him too. Her breath caught. They stared at each other. But she said nothing. She grabbed Obi and turned away. Ugo ran after them, calling her name. "Lola, wait!" She didn't stop. She disappeared down the street like a ghost in daylight. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept seeing the boy's face, those eyes, that smile. He asked his guards to find where the woman lived. They searched. They asked. And finally they pointed to a small mud hut near the edge of the village. He walked alone, knocked once. No answer. Then the door opened slowly. There she was, standing in a plain wrapper, her face older, but still just as beautiful. Stared at her, shaking. "You lied," he said quietly. "You didn't steal gold. You didn't run." Lola didn't speak. He looked behind her and saw Obi sleeping on a mat. "You had my child." Still she stayed quiet. And then he whispered, "What did they do to you?" Her eyes filled with tears. She stepped aside and let him in. The small mud hut was silent. Prince Ugo stepped inside slowly. His royal boots touched the dusty floor like they didn't belong there. He had never been in a place so small, and yet it felt heavier than any palace he'd ever entered. Lola stood quietly by the wall, her hands shaking. Her eyes looked at the floor. She couldn't bear to meet his gaze. Ugo looked around. The room was clean but bare. One mat, 2 plates, a tiny lamp, and a folded piece of cloth where the boy had been sleeping. He walked over to the mat and knelt. His fingers gently touched the blanket. "Is he really mine?" he asked in a whisper. Lola closed her eyes. Then she nodded. "Yes." Tears rose to his eyes, but he blinked them away. "Why didn't you tell me?" She looked up at him now, her voice trembling. "How could I? You were gone. Your mother told the world I was a thief. No one would believe me." Ugo clenched his fists. His jaw tightened. "What happened, Lola? Tell me the truth, all of it." Lola sank to the ground, her back pressed against the wall. She looked tired, like a candle that had burned for too long. "They whipped me," she said quietly. "In front of everyone. I screamed, but no one stopped them." His eyes widened, and then she ordered them to take me, to ruin me. "What do you mean?" Ugo asked, already afraid of the answer. "She told 4 guards to make me bleed, to take my dignity. She said I needed to learn my place." Ugo stood up sharply, his whole body shaking with rage. "What?" His voice echoed inside the small hut like thunder. "They dragged me," Lola whispered. "But one old guard refused. He couldn't do it. He helped me escape. I ran that night and never looked back." Ugo turned away. His hands were on his head. He paced the room like a man, losing his mind. "My mother did this," he said. "She told me You stole gold? That you ran?" He turned back to Lola, his face full of pain. "I hated you. I thought you used me." She nodded slowly. "I know. And I forgave you even before you knew the truth." He looked at her. Her hair was tied back in a scarf. Her clothes were faded. Her lips were dry. But to him she looked more like a queen than anyone he had ever known. He walked over, knelt in front of her. "I am sorry, Lola. I failed you. I wasn't there when you needed me most." She placed her hand gently on his cheek. "You're here now." There was silence. Then he stood up, his voice strong again. "I'm taking you both back." Lola froze. "What?" He turned to her. "You and Obi. You're coming with me to the palace. Tonight." She stood up. "No, I can't. Your mother, I don't care what she says." He cut her off. "She destroyed everything, and now the world will know the truth." "But what if she tries again? What if—" He walked closer, holding her hand tightly. "This time she'll have to face me." Lola looked down at her son, still sleeping softly. "Okay," she whispered. "We'll come." And that was how the prince, the maid, and their child returned. Not in secret, not in shame, but with guards, with horses, with drums. The people in the village watched with wide eyes as Prince Ugo helped Lola climb into his royal carriage. And when they reached the palace gates, he held her hand tightly and walked through like fire could not touch them. Everyone turned. Everyone stared. The queen came out herself, her eyes full of shock and disgust. "What is this?" she barked. "You dare bring her back?" Ugo stepped forward, loud and proud. "This woman is your new queen, and this child is my son, the rightful heir." Gasps, silence, chaos. The queen's mouth opened, but no words came out. She was trembling. Prince Ugo stared her in the face and said calmly, "You broke the truth, but you couldn't kill it. I found her. I found my peace, and nothing will take her from me again." Lola now walked beside Prince Ugo, not as a maid, but as his wife. The people bowed. Obi smiled. Peace had finally come. But behind the curtains, the queen watched. She said nothing, but her eyes spoke loudly. "She may wear a crown now," she whispered, "but I'll be the one to break it." For now the palace was calm, but war was already growing in silence.